Hello, beautiful people. Happy Friday, and welcome to your practical application of astrology and my personal story share. If you are interested in watching the astrological forecast for next week, that one will be coming out tomorrow. So stay tuned for that one. And if you are here to listen to this one, then welcome and thank you for your support. As always, if you like my channel, please like, subscribe to support my work. But let's just move on from there into what we're here to talk about. I don't have a particular exact topic, so let's see what comes through. But yeah, just to briefly remind everyone, as I'm sure everybody is aware, we experienced the new moon in Sagittarius, which was of course the main thing that took place this week alongside with Mercury station in retrograde. And I already mentioned in my Instagram post that right on a dot, the first day Mercury station retrograde, I was experiencing some technical difficulties with my Zoom during my call with my client, but everything worked out at the end. And then yesterday I had a client with Mercury retrograde in her natal chart, so everything was perfect. The whole reading was perfect. So it just get you to show that even though we might say, like from evolutionary astrology, Mercury is all these different type of thing, and don't allow Mercury to rule your life, because I mean Mercury goes retrograde every 3 months. We cannot stop living for like 2 months every year, right? But it still has an impact. So anyway, let's hope this recording will go fine. And then very important thing to mention, of course, all these transits that we had taken place the previous week, this week, next week were already present during the new moon in Sagittarius, which I already covered so many times, so I don't really want to go too much into that. But today, the very important thing that became exact last night, early on this morning, was the Sun trine to North Node, which, as we are aware, North Node was trining the new moon in Sagittarius, so we know that whatever is taking place, it's right on time for where we're heading, for our evolutionary path, our journey, to support us on our journey. And then today, later on today or early on tomorrow morning, depending where you are in the world, but for majority of us it's gonna be today, Friday the 15th, we have Mars trining Chiron, because as we know, Mars is now tagging along with the Sun, right behind the Sun, since they had their conjunction. And also later on today, Moon is moving into the sign of Aquarius, where Moon will remain for the majority of the weekend until she'll move into Pisces later on Sunday. So anyway, the one more thing that's taken place this week, which is important to mention, again, something that we are very aware of because it was taking place during the Sagittarius new moon, was the square from Neptune. And that is becoming exact. The square between Sun and Neptune is becoming exact on Sunday. Okay, so this is all the astrological jargon. Well, I mean the exact astrological terminology outside of the way, because we know that I live my life through astrology at the moment anyway, so I cannot help myself. I will always include some astrological jargon over here. So as I already covered in multitude of my videos previously, this new moon in Sagittarius, I feel, is very important. Very important. Of course, another thing which I forgot was the 12-12 portal. And for some of us, the new moon happened on the same day as 12-12 portals. For the rest of us, it happened on the 13th, no matter, because the 12-12 portal energy was open since 12-12, but it doesn't mean it shuts the door right after. It becomes available from that moment onwards. So that's obviously one of the aspects which I think is quite telling how important this new moon is, but also the fact that it was trined by the North Node, right? Which, like I said, the energy of this Sun trine to North Node and then Mars trine to North Node as the ruler of the North Node is very potent today and this weekend, because this is how we enter in the weekend. So I feel, especially with now Moon gaining the light, like it's moving from Sagittarius to Aquarius, which is sextile. There is a natural sextile between Sagittarius and Aquarius. Moon is starting to gain the light. And of course, with Mercury going retrograde now, redefining a lot of things for us, and will be moving back into the sign of Sagittarius on December 23rd, right after Mercury's conjunction to Sun at the very early degrees of Capricorn. right after Sun moves into Capricorn, there are a lot of things that we redefining, a lot of things that are becoming conscious to us once again, because we know Venus, as the ruler of the South Node that we are trying to resolve, is in Scorpio still. And she's bringing a lot of things up for us. A lot of us might remember that there was a lot of that happening during the Scorpio season. A lot of things were coming up for us into our conscious mind. And now Venus is going over the same territory, and Venus was in opposition with Jupiter during the new moon in Sagittarius, and Jupiter was the ruler. So what does this all mean in practical life is that throughout this week, especially since the new moon in Sagittarius followed by Mercury station in retrograde, there might have been things popping up for you, popping up in your reality. I know this has been the case for me, especially it became very obvious to me thanks to my clients, because I literally did a reading for 3 clients in a row with similar theme. I'm not saying it's the same thing. Obviously, everybody is walking their own unique journey on this planet in this incarnation, but similar energy was becoming quite obvious to me. And then even my good friend brought it again into my attention that something has been popping up for her repeatedly in her environment, and is the same energy. And the energy I'm talking about, which, like I said, I feel that this entire Mercury retrograde between the signs of Capricorn and Sagittarius will really help us understand. It will really help us to understand, because there is no coincidence Mercury stations retrograde right after new moon in Sagittarius. And what is the Sagittarius? Is the stories, is the belief system, is the perception of reality. It's all of these things. And Jupiter is also retrograde. As I mentioned, there are 3 trines between Jupiter and Mercury. The second one already took place while Mercury was still direct, and the first one. The second one is taking place on Monday, and they both retrograde for this one. The third one will take place in January when they both direct. What does this mean? Is that we are reevaluating a lot of things about how we identify this reality, which created the sense of safety and security, our construct of the matrix, and what is the story around it? What is the story on which the reality is being built? Because as we know, all of us, the way we operate in this world and the decisions we make and the way we identify anything that you come into contact with on momentary basis every single day of your life, it's heavily impacted by your belief system, by your perception of reality, because that's like your navigation, right? Like, oh yeah, this is my opinion, this is my experience, this is my belief, so this is what I'm going to project onto my environment. So what have become quite obvious, like I mentioned, since this new moon and since Mercury station retrograde, is that there are a lot of these stories coming up to the surface for us to look at, because Venus, Jupiter was in opposition, is the full moon, is the illumination of something. And we have the opportunity to ask questions, right? Because Mercury now is retrograde. So it's a good time for introspection. It's a good time to ask questions and go inward and process it on the internal level, so we can, maybe close the loop on it, maybe make a new conclusion, maybe, put a stop to it, put the end to it. Because then when Mercury will move direct again in January, and then, January 1st, and then it will ingress back into Capricorn, that will be right after the new moon in Capricorn, which is taking place on January 11th. And that is a new beginning. New beginning of what? New beginning of what you want to create. Now we had a new moon in Sagittarius, which is about the belief system. And that's why I repeatedly keep saying that Sagittarius comes before Capricorn, because whatever you believe, you create. Capricorn is the sign of manifestation, is the Saturn being ruled. And of course, Capricorn in itself is a feminine energy, is the earth energy, is the energy that births something. It's like this, things become tangible. Yes, they become tangible. But what comes before is the fire, is the inspiration, is this desire to create something, to make it tangible. So coming up into Capricorn season very, very soon, next week, I will make my astrological forecast tomorrow, but it's obviously next week with the solstice. We have the solstice, so Sun will ingress into the sign of Capricorn. So with this new moon in Capricorn, which will be the next new moon, and it will be the first moon of 2024, and the last moon of 2024 will be the new moon in Capricorn, funnily enough. And of course, in between, we have this Pluto going to Aquarius, back to Capricorn, and back to Aquarius. So there is no coincidence to anything. But what this means is that at the moment, we had the opportunity to see the intention for this new experience, this new adventure, these new horizons you want to explore in order to expand, to move away from this which now became stagnant or is no longer in alignment with our needs, values. You know, this Jupiter going through the sign of Taurus, it's helping us to reevaluate all that. You know, like, what is the story here? Do I still need this? Do I value this? Does this hold a meaning for me? Because, you know, there was a square to Neptune, like I just said, it's going to be exact on Sunday. And in order for us to be able to understand, like, what is it then? Is it this? Is it that? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it anymore? We have to become aware. We have to become aware of this operating system that we are being, you know, conditioned by, this program. So that's why there are things popping up for me. In many cases, triggers, as usual, triggers. There is always triggers. You know, Uranus is doing a good job over there in Taurus since 2018, bringing all these triggers with regards to Taurian topics. Your sense of self-worth, your relationship to yourself, what matters, what doesn't matter. Are your needs being met? Do you meet your needs, or do you expect others to meet your needs? So the topics that's been coming up a lot, you know, like in the recent days for me, thanks to observing, you know, having the honor to observe how this is showing up for others and myself, and then become aware of it myself, because awareness is the first step, is the key, right? Because if you're not aware, then, you know, you cannot really change anything if you don't know where it's happening, because it's just happening from the subconscious. Is this pattern that we all have, which is still this imprint of the conditioning from the previous generation, ancestor line, you know, collective consciousness, and the Pisces age and everything that came before you, like, because like I said, it didn't start with you. It can be changed by you, but it didn't start with you. Is this sense of unworthiness. And that's this Jupiter as the ruler of the Sagittarius in Taurus, making us reevaluate. Why do we feel unworthy? Why do we feel not feel good enough? And why so many of us struggles with this people pleasing, and with this sense that if we don't do something for other people, or if we, you know, like, put strong boundaries, we are not a good people. And, you know, like, just like from my personal experience, you know, the way I was brought up was exactly that. You know, like, I'm Taurus sun, you know, my north node is in Taurus, and, you know, all these other things that's going on in my chart. Like, I came here to learn something with regards to this topic. Also, Venus as the ruler of my north node is in Aries. So it's like, okay, you know, there is some new way of looking at these things. So anyway, all that said, I was always being judged. My entire life, growing up, the entire childhood, I was being judged for being selfish. And it made me feel guilty, ashamed. It made me feel like being at war with myself, because I obviously, as any child, before they become conditioned by their environment, you know what you need. You know, I mean, like, on the pure, innocent, you know, core level, when you ask the child, you know, what do you want to do, or what do you like, what do you enjoy, when they're very little, they tell you straight away. They don't have to think about it. Like, they don't have to think like, oh, let me think about what should I say so not to upset you. You know, which is why, if you want an honest answer, ask a 3-year-old. They're gonna tell you. So don't ask them don't ask them question for which the answer you don't want to hear, because they will tell you the truth. Because they don't have that filter, you know, the filter of people pleasing. Of course, yes, there is this need for survival. So if they need to, they will suppress their authenticity in order to create connection to survive, which is the teaching of Dr. Gabor Mate. But in essence, you know, with this pure and innocence, and this their perception of reality, and how they identify the world around them, they don't have that. You know, I need to say something you want me to hear, you know, like, oh, what do you want me to say? You know, what do you want to do? You know, they say, this is what I want, right? So before all that conditioning set in, you know, like, many of us knew what we wanted, and then we lost it. We lost ourselves. We lost ourselves in other people. We lost ourselves in society, and all these stories we bought into, which I keep repeating, it's all about stories, right? And now many people are trying to find themselves, because with this North Node being in a sign of Aries is the path of self-discovery. It's this wanting to come back to ground zero and go like, here I am, this is what I came here to do, and let me go and figure out what's next. What is my purpose? It's starting from the beginning, because many people are finding themselves in a situation where they just can't go on anymore. They just don't enjoy it. They don't enjoy their life. It's all just about surviving. It's all about just like from one day to another. Let's just get through this day. Let's just get through this week. Let's just survive. Let's just get through this year and whatever. But that's not what we came here to do. We didn't come here to survive. I mean, this is what I was talking about in my last video, the value of time, because that's the only thing you cannot buy more of. The time is time. When the time is up, the time is up, even though there are multiple windows of when you can exit, but like you cannot buy more time. So why do we waste so much time? Is because so many of us are completely disconnected. And why are we disconnected? Because of this conditioning to put other people first, which is the conditioning of the Pisces age. And to completely suppress what we need. So what I started saying when I was a small girl, I mean, I don't have that many memories of that time, because my brain shut a lot of it off because of what everything else went on at the time of my life. But I remember wanting to do something, wanted to be someone, wanted to express myself a certain way, and got shut down. Like, no, this is not acceptable, this is not okay, you're being like this, you're being like that. And that created this war within myself, because it created this sense of shame, this guilt of shame for having this inner guidance telling me that this is what I need, this is what's right for me, but nobody else around me is mirroring it back to me, or validating, in this case being a child, validating to me that it's okay to be that way, it's okay to want what you want and be as you are. And it doesn't mean that we are not, like growing and changing and adjusting. Of course, that's the path of the hero's journey, our path of evolution and continuous change. That's why Sagittarius and all this is mutable, right? It's mutable. The more that you learn the truth about yourself and you shift your perception of reality and your belief system, the more everything shifts with it, around you. So I feel with these topics that's been coming up this week, this is for many people, this is the case, that they, even now, when they really like just allow themselves to be genuine, honest and authentic with themselves, with their mood, when they are alone and nobody is around, so nobody's judging them, people know what they want. Most people, like some people don't, okay? Some people don't, because they were being suppressed and conditioned to the point where they actually don't even know what they want anymore. But a lot of people do know what they want, but they just don't think they can have it. They don't think they can have it, or they feel guilty and ashamed for even wanting it. They feel like, or like what will the other person say, how will the other person think or feel if they knew this about me, or whatever. So we always taking all these other people into consideration, which of course is fair, because like we're not living in separation, like we're living in a planet Earth full of other people, and we need to kind of find a way to cohabit, hopefully one day in peace and harmony. But it's not just like I am not the only person in this world, but you are the sun. You are the sun in your world. You are the center stage of your life, because you are the creator of it, and the main star and the director and producer and screenwriter and all of it. So this is where I feel that so many people, and why they are struggling right now, because there is this war. There is a war in the world, as we know, but there is a war within ourselves, because there is that something within us that wants to rise. This North Node in Aries is this, just like, even if people are afraid and they feel stuck and all this, but there is this desire. There is this desire to just break out of it, just to go for the unknown, just to break out of this, because it's just like making us feel dead. It's this Neptune in Pisces, it's this Saturn in Pisces, it's like, it's the end. Like, can't go on like this anymore unless I, use anything to help me to forget about where I am and what I'm doing, which is like why this is also on a rise in the world, Neptune in Pisces. That's the other aspect of it. So once again, because I keep digressing from the main road. I keep going into side roads. What I was trying to say with all of this is that a lot of people don't go and don't do and don't admit and don't give to themselves what they need, what they want, what is true to them, because of the conditioning of people pleasing. And that is the main topic that keeps coming up in many people's realities. This fear. Is this fear like, what will the other people say? Will they judge me? What if they will not love me anymore? Which is this unhealed child wounding, which I was talking about before. That there are all these things that we were being projected onto and conditioned by growing up as children, which made us fragment. They made us suppress all these aspects of who we are in order to fit in and belong and survive. At the time it was the survival, and we still operating on the same system. We still believe in that story that, oh my God, if I tell you how I really feel, or if I put boundary and say no, you're gonna leave me and I'm not gonna survive, And this is it doesn't have to be exactly the same thing, but it's in essence the same emotion, which is this Pluto, this abandonment, loss, betrayal, which means death. I'm gonna die. But perhaps that aspect of you needs to die. Perhaps this people-pleasing aspect of you, or the aspect of you that is putting everybody else first and completely depleting your own life force, and then we have no energy to do anything else. Maybe that aspect needs to be gone with love and peace and compassion. And thank you very much. I learned this lesson. It was very helpful to me, but now I need to keep going on, because this is just not nurturing me anymore, right? So this is something that has been popping up for my clients. That why, in some cases, some people already overcome this, or are aware of this, or working towards overcoming this. And some people are just becoming aware of this, is this story. Why do we still believe this story of that other people determine your value, that other people and their relationship towards you, their love towards you, or the lack of, is a reflection of who you are? Like, you determine your value because it's the Taurus. The Taurus determines, it's your relationship with yourself, how you value yourself. You do that. And then based on how you feel about yourself, you attract people that just mirror it back to you. So if people don't treat us well, and if people, for example, for someone who does everything for someone else and that someone else does nothing for them, it's like, well, why do you do everything for someone else? Why do you spread yourself so thin? What is the intention? What is the belief system behind it, which says that, in order to be loved, accepted, appreciated, I need to do all this for other people? But is that really the truth? Or is it again a belief system we were being passed on, conditioned, and we bought into, or we adopted it, that now is in many cases making a lot of people's life miserable. And then there is that expectation of the other people to reciprocate, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's their free will, right? But if we're going into something with that sense, I need to do all these things for you to get what I need, then straight away we're giving our power away, which is the South Node in Libra. That's literally exactly what's going on in the sky, since the nodes move into Aries and Libra, which prior to that were in Taurus and Scorpio. What matters to you, and where do you feel afraid you might not get it? And now it's gone into Aries and Libra, which is saying, okay, now is a time for the self-discovery and going in a new direction. And in order to go there, we need to balance our relationship to other people, and how much power are we externalizing and giving to our environment, right? So in this case, if I do all these things for you, and I've done it so many times, I even done it with my ex, which is what was the main cause of the relationship going, downhill. I gave too much. And then of course you think like, I'll give you all this, which in a sense, it's a subconscious form of manipulation, because we give all this much because we think like, okay, I'm investing all this into you. So you think it's like when you put in money in a saving account, and then it's, hopefully, you're going to get some interest for it, right? Well, not so much these days, but, that used to be the case, that you get this interest or whatever, and then you're jolly good, right? You have more than you bargained for. But it is not always the case, not with other people, because here other people have free will. So yes, so there could be a transparency to say, okay, this is what I wish to invest and this is what I wish to get back. But most people don't have that conversation. They just put their investment in without any conversation with regards to, okay, what would I like to get back out of that? And then when they don't get it, they become upset or resentful or whatever. And again, what is the intention? What is the intention and what is the belief system that makes us do these things, that makes us spread ourselves too thin, that makes us do all these things for other people, very often at our own cost, where people, like, for example, this is very common in my family, because my family is full of this kind of belief system where, for example, my mom will have her day off from work and she would like to do something for herself, like not even for herself. She would she says, okay, I need to clean the house. The house is a mess, right? So this is what she would like to do on her day off, which is not even like, go and put your feet up, mom, and read some book, just take time for you. Oh no, I have too much to work, too much to do. And then, she usually gets dumped 1, 2, or many more grandchildren on her neck, and then she can't even do that thing she wanted to do. Now she has to do extra as well. And she can't say no. She can't say no, because she say like, well, who's gonna help your siblings with the kids or whatever, or we love them or we want to spend time with them, but then where is the line? Where is the boundary? Like, yes, it's nice to spend time with other people, or it's nice to exchange energy and do things for other people if it makes you happy and you have the extra. Like, for example, that was when I was in Slovakia, and I would babysit my baby nephew because I love him very much. We have very strong connection. We are both Arcturians. And there is this strong resonance, even though he's only baby, he's only like 14 months, 15 months, right? But I cannot do it all the time, like I had to be very aware of my energy and the energy that I have available to me, and how am I going to use it. Now, if I have a client, if I have to do content for YouTube, and then I still have to do at least basic self-care, like my yoga in the morning or something, take a shower, have breakfast, all these kind of things, then I have to be very conscious of how much time can I give. How much of my time can I give freely without feeling resentful and feeling that, over the period of time, it's going to impact me very detrimentally, to my own detriment. And that is up to me, that is up to me to determine that, okay, this is how much energy I have available to me, and this is what I would like to do with regards to my life, my path, my responsibility, my purpose, my mission, and this is what I have extra. So this is where I'm able to help you, but I cannot help all the time in the same measure, and it's not something that can be taken for granted, right? And this is, which of course in my family, this is like something completely alien to them, because they go like, what do you mean? And then, like I said, after 2 months and being around my family, I was depleted because I still gave much more than I could. But this is, for a lot of people, their everyday reality all their life until they get sick, in many cases. And that's, for many people, is a wake-up call for people to start taking care of themselves and to be more loving to themselves and more aware of their limitations and more conscious of their energy and how they, spreading themselves thin or all that. So again, the question is, why are we doing the way why are we doing these things? Why are we acting this way? Why are we feeling this way? Why are we thinking about ourselves this way? Did anybody actually stop and ask these questions? Like, why do I even feel I should feel ashamed if I say no to you? Why should I feel ashamed about it if there is something within my own body, my own guidance system, which is saying I need to have a break, I need to take a nap, or I need to put my feet up, and everything else needs to wait right now because I don't have it to give. I don't have it to give. And I mean, if we were again being more transparent, and if we were being more, if we were being taught, which we weren't, majority of us, especially like our generation, older generation, we weren't being told, this assertive way of communicating between one another, which is like, this is what I can give and this is what I can't give. And it's not like I don't love you or I don't care about you, but I need to care about me too, right? And this is where people, like, you know, are conditioned to believe that if I take care of you, you will take care of me. But it's not always the case. And then if we take care of someone else to the point where we don't have anything to give to ourselves and that other person doesn't reciprocate, then what happens? Then you get sick, or you just get angry and resentful, and eventually you get sick, right? Because it's the imbalance. And this is literally what are we learning with these nodes in Aries, Libra. And at the moment it is very imbalanced. You know, there are crises, you know, because Libra is not born balanced. Libra is born inherently imbalanced, and through crisis it finds a way to adjust. And that's pretty much with all the oppositions. You know, there needs to be a balance between the two signs. And with regards to Libra Aries, it's like Aries is me, Libra is you. You know, how can we create this win-win situation, this birthing of the conscious relationships, which is what I said is what is the topic of these eclipses in Libra. You know, why do we not have a full moon lunar eclipse in Aries this time round, you know, for next 9 years? Like, it's crazy. There is no full moon lunar eclipse in Aries. You know, there is only new moon in Aries, and new moon, full moon in Libra. And then as of next September, while we still have new moon in Libra, solar eclipse, we will have already full moon in Pisces. And why is that? Well, because we haven't figured it out yet. We don't know how to do this full moon in Aries with balanced way of relating to one another, because there is still so much purging that needs to take place. That is the square to Neptune. That literally is the square to Neptune from this new moon we just had, is the first quarter square. Sun-Neptune square is the first quarter square, which is saying crisis in action. We need to take a new action because there are things that lost meaning that we still keep doing because nobody is questioning it. And everybody think that, oh, I will be a bad person to say no or take time for myself or not to help. Well, you help as much as you can, but you know what is another side of the same coin? If you help too much, that other person will never learn how to do it for themselves, which in case is keeping them feeling disempowered. So actually you're doing them the disservice. You know, like, I mean, there are obviously unique situations, you know, and people, you know, are not able-bodied and they need help and support because they just can't do it for themselves anymore. Obviously there is, you know, like I said, there are nuances, but now I'm talking generally. You know, it's like literally when you again go back to those of you who had children, if you would never allow your child to fall when they were learning to walk, or if you would never allow them to learn how to put their shoes on or how to put their t-shirt on, even if they did it upside down, inside out, it doesn't matter. But they had to learn, right? So if we do all these things for other people and we think, well, I need to help them, you know, like I need to help my mom, I need to help my sister, I need to help, you know, like in case, for example, my family, right? My parents need to help my sister every single day, having my nephew every single day, and then they feel depleted because my dad is retired and he wants his peace and quiet, you know, he doesn't want all this, like, I mean, yeah, he's kind of contradicting himself because he say he wants peace and quiet, but he wants people to come and see him every day because, you know, he's Cancer, Venus in Cancer, so it's all family oriented. That's his value, that's something that is very important to him. So he wants to see people, but in a small doses. He would like everybody to come visit for 1 hour and go home. But people don't do it like that. Well, he doesn't define the boundary. He doesn't actually say to anybody what he really wants. He just say, come over. He doesn't say, hey, would you like to come over for like an hour or two? Because then I would like to have a nap, or I would like to take a rest, or whatever, or just do nothing, stare at the wall. He never says that. And then he gets resentful when somebody comes over for all day. And then he says, too much for me. And I'm like, well, why don't you communicate? And he say, well, what am I supposed to tell them not to come? And I'm like, well, that's the other extreme, isn't it? Don't tell them not to come. No, you just communicate truly, honestly, you know, from a balanced state, saying that this is what I can give you, this is what I can't. So, you know, in this case, my parents trying to help my sister, support my sister by taking my nephew every day, even though they don't have the energy for that. And then everybody is becoming depleted. And then they say, like, well, you know, we need to help her. But because you're doing this every day, she doesn't find a different way to solve the situation. And this way, nobody is like really gaining, right? I mean, so that's what I mean. To which extent, by us being too much, doing too much for someone else, because we're trying to find our sense of self-worth through other people, if I do all this for you, then obviously I'm valuable, because what would you do without me, right? But trust me, there will be a situation when they will have to do without you, because that's their soul lesson. Because the soul, on a subconscious level, if it's not conscious, if we're not aware, will sabotage that situation, because we all came here to grow and evolve. So if we take somebody's power away by them becoming dependent on us, eventually something will make it break, whether it's something from the external environment where, the tower moment comes and the universe will shake things up for us, or whether that person will cut the connection with you, or whether you will have to cut the connection because of ill health, or whatever the hell it is. It doesn't matter, but there will be a point where the imbalance will have to be balanced. And if it's not being balanced by our free will, then there will be an external interference that will make it so. So that's why, because like I said, when we're doing too much for someone else, we are depleting ourselves, and B, we are actually disempowering the other person, because there is no balance. There has to be a balance, and that's what we're learning right now. That's why these dynamics, these topics are coming up, which is, for example, like the feedback I received is, oh, so and so feels unappreciated because they're doing all this for someone else and they get nothing back. Or if they need help, that other person gaslights them, or say, sorry, I'm busy. And then that person feels, but I did all this for you. How come you're busy now that I need you? Well, because people are not obliged. This is the moral code, this is the conditioning. Or if you are a nice person and you do all this for other people, then automatically you expect everybody else will reciprocate in the same manner, in the same way. But no, sometimes universe reciprocates to you for all your love and kindness by helping you to understand the lesson, so you stop spreading yourself so thin, so you give the love and kindness back to yourself. Because this is what I keep saying to all my clients. You are the only constant in your life. There is no one else that will be with you from the moment you enter this incarnation until you leave, apart from your spirit guides and all these, entities from the unseen world. But when it comes to human form, your human friends, family, lovers, whatever, boss, it doesn't matter. Any human people, nobody will be with you for your entire life. No one, which is the lesson of Pluto in Scorpio, lesson of strong Scorpio, law of impermanence. Everything that once started will end eventually. Just like when you have a child, you give a birth, the child will one day leave you because they need to learn their own lesson. Again, there are a unique circumstances, unique situation where there are different contracts and people have to take care of their children forever and ever. And that is obviously whatever the souls decided to do for each other. But now again, generalizing, if people have children, eventually these children are bound to leave the nest and have their own life, in which case you will feel that, oh well, and now what? Now I'm what? Like my life is over because I am not a mother anymore because my kids are gone. And this is again, how much did you give of yourself, or did you give to that identity or that story, that now that you are not a mother, well, or you will always be a mother. Once you have a child, you always be a mother. But now that, for example, the child has its own life or something, then you feel that, oh, well, now I'm like, what is my worth? What am I here to do? What am I doing with my time? And stuff. And that's very often when people actually find themselves, when the kids leave the nest, and then people first, they have the shock, and, they go through all these like, what happens now? And then actually they start discovering the true essence of themselves, because suddenly there is all this space, right? All this space, all this time. And as we know, I hope many of us are aware of this, universe never leave empty spaces in your life. There is never a vacuum in the universe, because there is always something new being born from the void, from the black hole, always something new is being born. So if there is a space vacated in your life, whether with regards to relationship, job, your kids, your friends, whatever it is, every time something ends, something new begins, because that's the cycle. That's the cycle of life. That's why the zodiacal wheel is a wheel because it's a cycle, right? From Pisces you go back to Aries. From Aries you continue the full journey. It's never ending. It's never ending. It's just continuously going on. There is no beginning, there is no end. It's a cycle. It's a circle going in thingy. So that's why every time something ends, something new will begin. So for example, right now, when many people are potentially coming to realization, which they are understanding or recognizing how they've been limiting themselves because of these stories that we identify with, or we just being subconsciously projected onto, program with, and never questions. Like, for example, why would my sense of value and self-worth depend on you? Or how much you do for me? Like, no, you are your Taurus. You decide what is your sense of self-worth and your sense of value. That's why, like I said in my previous example, my previous videos, you decide how much you're getting paid. Not your boss is deciding. They are giving you a quote. They are giving you an idea. Okay, this is what we offering you. But it's up to you to decide if this is your worth or not, right? Nobody else decide. You decide. So even like when people might want to get triggered now and say like, well, you don't understand, this is my salary, right? But everything is mutable here, like based on the belief system with regards to, do I feel this is the reflection of my self-worth, and is this how much I feel that I want to do this job for? Right? Yes or no? You decide. Your boss doesn't decide. Your boss is giving you a suggestion. It's giving you a quote. It's giving you a suggestion, and then you either take it or not, right? You can say, no, this is not the representation of my value, of my time, of my prana, of my life force. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with relationships. You decide. What is your value? How much do you want to give? The other person doesn't decide. The other person serves to help you understand that. The other person helps you to understand, to have the opportunity to learn and knowledge what it is. They don't determine that. You determine that. You determine how much you want to give, how much you want to spend, how much you have spare, or you don't, right? Which is just like, if you don't, then, like you need to replenish, because if, you only have 100%. If you are down to zero, you have nothing more to give. And that's just how it is, and it's not for someone else to get upset. Obviously, then it also depends on the delivery, which, I mean, people like me with Mercury in Aries doesn't always go well. But then it also depends on delivery. How do we communicate our needs? Because if we are being honest and talk from our heart, then the other person will understand. Okay, they might not like it, but they can't really get that upset if we say like, I'm so sorry, I really would love to be there for you, I really would love to do this for you, but right now I can't. I need to take care of me because I have nothing to give, So why does it come so hard to us as a human collective to be able to do this for ourselves? Well, because we weren't being told. Because for thousands of years we are being told that no, the right thing is to put yourself last and put everybody else first. And then why in a plane they tell you that put your mask first, then put mask on your kid? Because if you check out, who's gonna take care of your kid? If you have no oxygen and you pass out, then you have to hope that somebody else will. But so this is what I mean, and this is a rabbit hole we could just go so deep digging into, but I think many people might resonate and understand. And I mean, don't get me wrong, even with me, with all my placements and everything, because your astrology is just a guideline, it doesn't define you, you define yourself, it's just a suggestion. Again, it's your blueprint, which is saying, okay, here is your potential. You do whatever you want with it. You have a free will, right? Apart from, certain karmic situations that take place, which we obviously decided over prior to incarnation that, okay, well, if I stray too far from the highway, then help me out. And then things happen outside of our control, usually during eclipse times. So anyway, like I said, even people like myself, who I'm becoming more and more self-aware, I struggle sometimes, because obviously there are still situation groups and people that I don't want to hurt their feelings, but actually by not coming out with your true feelings about the situation and letting things stew, letting things cook, usually then they become worse, right? They become overcooked, overheated, and then when things blow up eventually, there is much more collateral damage that potentially could have been prevented if we didn't let it go to that point, So it's like when we keep sacrificing ourselves and depriving ourselves and suppressing ourselves, when it gets caught early on, just like with any diagnosis, then there's something you can do with it. If you let it go too far, then usually the collateral damage gets too great, and sometimes these relationships are not salvageable anymore because it just becomes something distorted, right? So many times, this is the paradox. People think that by not saying anything and not making adjustments, they are keeping the relationship. They are making the relationship last, whatever the relationship is, because we're talking about Libra here. So that's why I'm talking about relationships, because the South Node in Libra. But actually, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. Because the more you don't do something about it, the higher chance that the relationship will eventually not survive, because no adjustments are being made. It's like, when you have a car, you have to maintain it. If you just ignore that the car needs to change oil and it needs whatever it needs, like I don't have one myself, so it's not like I'm taking care of car maintenance. But if you don't take care of your car and you just let it, you just leave it and hope for the best, even though it might be flashing some stuff on your dashboard, but you're like, oh yeah, it's okay. Eventually, things might go very, very wrong and they might not be salvageable anymore. So this is where, it's just so interesting to me how, rather than like kind of making it stink for a bit, like when you wax in, you just pull it quick, it stinks for a bit, but then it's okay, rather just like imagine plugging the hair one by one, right? It's much worse. So anyway, stupid example, but still. So sometimes, like just to really, just to maybe like deliver the message that might not be enjoyable for the other person to hear, but you clear the air, right? And you set the new boundary, which then will have to be respected. I mean, it might not be respected by the other, which means that there will be an opportunity again to redefine and reevaluate whether this is the right relationship for you, right? But if you don't do it, then eventually things will get worse, So this is technically what we're learning right now with everything that's going on in the sky. And like I said, there is this trine to North Node becoming exact from both Sun and Mars. And Mars is staying in Sagittarius for a while. It's not moving into, Capricorn until January. So we'll have Mars present for another, lunation in the sign of Sagittarius. It obviously likes it there. It's got a lot of stuff to do because it's the ruler of North Node. And it is all to do with our stories. It's all to do with our belief system and what we really believe and how we perceive our experience and what we are attached to. And like I said, Jupiter is in Taurus. It's all about you. It's all about, because Jupiter is touching everything North Node activated, and the eclipse is activated, during that period of time. We had the last one in Taurus only just now, 28th of October, which happened right on my sun. So anyway, now things are becoming much more clear to us, and these things that are triggering us, that are making us upset, where we feel unseen, unappreciated, and then start questioning. Why am I doing all this? Why am I doing this much? Why is this person treating me this way? This questioning. Mercury retrograde. We questioning. We are reevaluating so we can redefine. Mercury started retrograde in Capricorn. What is this story that we think it's so solid, that it's so rigid in a sense, that now wants to change, because Capricorn is a cardinal sign. It's a new beginning, right? That's why when we have a solstice, a new season is beginning. And then Mercury is going to retrograde back into Jupiter right after its conjunction with Sun in a retrograde mode, when things might become illuminated to us again. The next lunation will be a full moon, illumination of Cancer. Cancer, who you are, what is your true essence, who you are, what is this identity that you identify yourself with. So that's what I mean. There is no coincidence. It's just so mind-blowing how these things are happening the way they happen, in the order they happen in, because they are helping us to understand. They're helping us to understand, even though it is not comfortable and it is painful, and it will mean that you will lose some people. Not everybody's going to come with you into the future, because when you become a different version of yourself, more authentic, true to yourself, when you stop this people pleasing and you start putting boundaries, because you start choosing you start putting your own sense of self-worth first, and not in a way that narcissistic, I don't care, it's all about me, la 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 la. No, that's not what I'm talking about. This is not what I mean. I mean just to having a healthy sense of self-love, self-care, self-nurture. And then you have so much love to give, so much more love to give, because you keep regenerating this sense of love within you. And it's beautiful to be loved by others. It's beautiful to get it back. It's beautiful to have these reciprocated relationships that are from the conscious point of view, where we know what we're putting in, we know what we're receiving back, like everything, obviously is transactional, because you wouldn't be friends with someone if you were getting nothing out of the relationship, right? So this is the opportunity to reevaluate everything. What are we putting in? What are we getting back? Is it in alignment with what we still need? What we still need, what we still want? What is the sense of your self-worth? What is your relationship with yourself? All this is being reevaluating right now, because Mercury is making 3 trines to Jupiter. Mercury is making 3 sextile to Saturn. Saturn is the ruler of Mercury while in Capricorn, because Saturn rules Capricorn. Where is Saturn? In Pisces. Pisces is the ending. Pisces is saying what had lost meaning. Saturn is still the ruler of Pluto. Pluto is the evolution. What is Pluto doing? Is squaring the nodes. Where is it showing? Pointing towards South Node in Libra. Where did we give too much power to someone external of you, whether it's a person, whether it's a structure, whether it's a cultural belief, a religion, whether it's whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. Anything that is not your own inner guidance, your own inner compass that is navigating you through life and saying, this is the right thing for you, this is what you came here to experience, and this is what you came here to contribute. You will not be liked by everyone, you will not be best pali with everyone, and it's okay, because even Jesus was not liked by everyone, even whoever all these biggest teachers and leaders in the history of human collective, they were not being liked by everyone. There is not a single person, not even Princess Diana. I'm pretty sure you could find people who didn't like her, even though it's hard to believe, but there isn't a single person in a human form that was being loved and liked by everyone. So it's okay if there are some people who will not understand or like you. It's okay, because what other people think of you is none of your business anyway. It's on them, not on you. Then obviously if you're getting too much feedback, look, a lot of people saying the same thing to us, then we might go, okay, well, maybe something I need to pay attention to. Maybe I need to, sit with this and run it through your inner system. And we always know when we did something wrong, because your conscious will tell you. But if not, then maybe it's just somebody trying to project their own stuff onto you. When they say, oh, you're being selfish because you say no to going to whatever, dinner, because you decided, I had such a hard week, I just really would like to take some time for me, just to take a bubble bath, listen to some music, read a book, and have an early night. If people get upset about it, then you need to question if these are the right people for you, because everybody who cares about you would say, yes, you take care of you, because you matter, because we love you and we want you to be well, so then we can, both enjoy each other's company and stuff like that. So anyway, so this is what became very obvious, very clear to me. And of course, even with regards to my own personal relationships and the people that are in my life, and, ever never ending, ever continuing story of me and my family and stuff, because that's, those are the people we have the most contracts with, the ones closest to us, our family. But actually things been really fine with my family, that we don't really speak very often. Which is usually when the things are going very well. But they kind of calm down. So I think they, on the subconscious level, know that I'm trying to transmute some energy for the whole family line. So anyway, But like I said, all these things that have been spoken on and became more conscious to you, more clear, is an opportunity to reevaluate, ask questions, like literally to have a chat with yourself. You know, interview yourself and ask yourself questions to get to the core reason for that belief and why we still attached to it. What are we getting out of it? Because if you still continue to do something, there's obviously something you're getting out of it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing that. You know, like with regards to my mom, obviously she feels valuable and indisposable, and you know, like I guess that's how she feels, that that's where it's her self-worth, you know, that she's doing all these things even though she feels tired and resentful and angry and short and whatever, because you know, because she's not giving nothing back to herself. But you know, that's perhaps what the soul chose to experience, and it's okay if that's what the soul came here to experience, because whatever they pay some karmic debts. Who am I to judge? Who is anybody to judge? The only thing you can decide over is your own life, your own experience. So that's why, you know, you are experiencing your own experience. You're getting a continuous feedback from the environment and from your own body and your own feelings, emotions, and based on that you can make the right choice for you. We cannot make the right choice for anybody else because we don't know what it is, you know. So that's why, like, you know, I'm not judging people who are doing that. I'm just saying, question it. Because if it doesn't make you feel happy, or if it doesn't make you feel well, or if it makes you feel ill or unwell or sick or whatever, then question it. Why am I doing this? What is that thing that I'm trying to gain from this? Why am I trying to gain this? What is the intention? What is behind the intention? What is the core belief system that is making me act this way? And is that truth? Is that thing, the belief system, is that even truth? Where did I hear it? Where did it came from? Is it what I still resonate with? Does it actually have a meaning for me? Does it make me happy? Does it allow me to have an authentic experience by being who I am? Am I able to be truly myself and enjoy my life? Because in many cases, and this is the main thing which I always get from my reading with my clients, is they just want to be seen. Like, I'm not telling people nothing they don't know on their core soul level, you know, because they usually say this so resonate with me. This is exactly what I needed to hear because of what I'm going through right now. People just want to be heard and seen, and they just want to have this validation from someone who doesn't know them, from Jesus, because they're just trying to learn to validate themselves. And when they know what that feels like, that sense of I am being validated, they can recreate it again and again for themselves. So, you know, like, this is what I mean. And I can keep going, but it's a long video, so I need to shut up now. But yeah, Mercury retrograde after new moon in Sagittarius. This is the opportunity to shoot the bullets through your beliefs, you know, to get the holes in it, so you actually see whether they, you know, whether they hold or not. And what is this all about? What is all of this about? You know, like, just question everything, you know, like literally we are living in a time where you need to find the connection to yourself, because the way we're going forward with this world, nobody knows what's going to happen, what it's going to look like next year, year after that, 20 years from now. Who knows? You know, the only thing you can truly trust is you, because all the answers are within you. They don't have to be the same answer somebody else is getting. They don't even need to be the same truth. But it doesn't matter, because you're here to have your experience and be of the service from the authentic place of who you truly are. And that's how you're going to be to the you know, of the service, and you know, help everyone, this entire world, raise the vibration of the world, where you are being able to do that. And you can't do that if you are continuously sacrificing and putting other people first, because what, they matter more than you? Everybody matters the same. You know, everybody has the same value, you know, because we all came here to complete a certain purpose which is unique to each and every single person. It might be similar to someone else, but it's never the same, because you are you. There is not another person that is exactly like you. You are unique, right? So anyway, guys, I really have to go because this video is too long, but I hope that perhaps this helped some people to stop and question things, become aware of certain things. And yeah, perhaps, you know, like I said, with this new moon in Sagittarius after 12-12 portal, This is an opportunity to put an intention to create new stories. So we are becoming aware what are these stories that we are attached to based on external environment, triggering it and mirroring it back to us. And with the Mercury retrograde, opportunity to reevaluate and redefine. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for listening. If you're still around, if you found the value and enjoyed this video, then please like, subscribe, and I'll speak to you tomorrow with the astrological forecast if that's what you're waiting for. Much love, everyone. I hope you're having a great time, great upcoming weekend, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye, everyone. Bye for now.